What's up guys, it's DP Connect at DLive HD. It's been a while since I've recorded anything. Due to Hurricane Dorian that devastated my home in the Bahamas and COVID happening right afterwards, it's been a long road to recovery. But now that I'm back, I'm looking forward to bringing quality content for you all. For my first video back, we're going to talk about the 10 best Netflix game releases this year so far. Netflix is killing it with the releases this year, and absolutely dominating Apple Arcade's pathetic releases. So without further ado, and in no particular order, let's get into it. First, let's talk about Storyteller. This is the perfect game for mobile and touchscreen devices. You're basically creating a story by dragging and dropping characters into scenes to craft the narrative that the book wants you to create. It's a really interesting concept that mixes storytelling with puzzle elements. Also, for the best experience, definitely play this on an iPad. Up next is 12 Minutes. This might be one of the most frustrating games out of the bunch, or a severe case of deja vu. In this game, you're trying to solve a crime by playing certain scenes over and over again until you get it right. It's kind of like the Edge of Tomorrow movie with Tom Cruise, where he's basically going through a certain scene over and over until he saves the world. While this game is doing the same thing, featuring a husband and wife in their apartment. In this point-and-click style game, you have to find out why the cops are suspecting you of murder, and in the process you discover some interesting things about your wife as well. Definitely a good game if you're into that genre. The only downfall is that it has no gamepad support. And now TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Definitely the most popular game of the bunch. This reimagining is a blast, and if you're a fan of the Ninja Turtles, you're going to love this one as well. You get to go through 16 levels, each with their own scenery, bodies, and bosses. The music is also amazing and includes Wu-Tang Clan when you fight Shredder. Up next is Oxenfree 2. While not as good as the first one, Oxenfree 2 still brings a cool rewind function to the story that reminds us a bit of the game 12 Minutes, and is still worth a playthrough. It has great art style, just as good looking as the first one, and the story is also interesting. The ending story might not be great, but still give it a shot. It works with both touchscreen controls and gamepad. Now let's talk about Samurai Showdown. This is a really good fighting game. If you're a fan of something like Tekken or Street Fighter, you'll really like this one on mobile. Although it's more like Tekken than Street Fighter, when it comes to the gameplay, the moves are a little slower, the characters are each different and have distinct differences to each of their movesets. The only thing I don't like about this game is that it unfortunately has no gamepad support, but the touch controls do work well if you're willing to look past the lack of physical controls. Up next we have Valiant Hearts, Coming Home. This is a sequel of the first Valiant Hearts game, and it follows ordinary people on their experiences through World War I. The way it tells the story is simply amazing, and the way they convey the artwork is beautiful in all its hand-drawn glory. The gameplay is basically point and click, but it brings so many gameplay styles that it's not simply one genre of game, and it never gets boring. Definitely one of the stronger Netflix releases. Now High Water. This is one of the more interesting titles. In this game, you're in a post-apocalyptic world trying to survive while meeting new people. It brings an interesting grid-based RPG-style gameplay where you take turns attacking each other. You're basically going through the game on your boat, taking missions in different sections of the world and trying to stay alive. Up next we have Dustin Neon. This is an interesting title. It's a top-down twin-stick shooter, but it adds an interesting element in that you have to manually load your gun. Does it take a little more time to cycle through the next shot? Yes it does, but it adds a different element to the game that makes it more realistic. The graphics have that cel-shaded look, but also incorporates a lot of neon colors. If you're into a western cowboy action games, definitely check this one out. This one also has controller support. Now Raja. This is an action platformer based on Hindu mythology. The art in this game is amazing, and the game is a beauty to look at. The gameplay is also really fun, and features a girl who is trying to save her universe from dark forces as well as trying to keep her family safe. Although linear in nature, you have a vast world to explore and plenty of enemy types to beat up. The only drawback to this game is that it doesn't have controller support, so you have to settle for the touchscreen controls. Of course, if you don't mind that, the controls are fine. And finally, Destro. This one is really good. It's a grid-based action game with turn-based fighting styles that's centered around dodgeball. You're a girl who's returning to her hometown and trying to reconcile with her old friends. You win them over by playing them in dodgeball. Once you beat them, they join your team. Each of them has their own power-ups and brings something different to the team. The story is also cool and relatable for a lot of people. Alright guys, thanks for sticking with us through our break and for checking out the video. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. But most importantly, remember to always stay one up.